SEO. And look, if you found the right topic, you can find all the information you need about TikTok SEO in order to make this work. Look at the other videos doing well in the topic, look at their search bar at the top, and you'll see what TikTok has categorized these videos as. Once you understand that category, you've got to treat it as a keyword. For the targeting, speak that keyword throughout the video. That's the most important thing. Use it in your descriptions, use it in your hashtags, and that will make sure you get put in front of the right people. The way you find your topics is through creator search insights, TikTok search. There's a lot more to learn about TikTok SEO. Increasing your watch time can also be done with your hooks, your storytelling structures, the way you're introducing constant stimulus. So if you want a part 2 where I go a bit more advanced for this to make sure you're guaranteed to break out 300 view jail for every single video you post, then just comment part 2 and I can get that out. And if you want to be part of the community where we've helped people like Susan gain over 100,000 followers after being stuck at the 300 view jail for so long on her own, then click the link in our bio. We've got free options available to introduce you to everything. We have options for account breakdowns, the full TikTok growth operating system that's got these people these results, one-on-one coaching calls, so much more. So click the link in our bio to check that out and I'll see you over there. This is how I got this many views last week and this many views the week before, so that you can do it too. If you're stuck at low views, this blueprint is the formula. So if you're stuck at low views, save this so you can come back to it later. I'm going to run through it and follow up with daily TikTok growth content because we're trying to help everybody grow on here. Now the blueprint for views goes like this. So if you're low views, follow this to a T. And a fair warn here, it might take a little bit of work, but if you're determined, within a week or 2, you can completely turn things around. Now, the first thing in the blueprint is that if you want your videos to get views, you have to be targeting the right pieces of content when it comes to the topics of the videos. You might really like making a specific piece of content on a specific topic. However, the reality is that 99% of the topics that people post about on a whole on TikTok aren't understood by a large enough audience in order for them to get views, but also aren't understood by TikTok enough to put them in front of the right people on the platform who'd actually be interested in them. So you have to go after topics that TikTok understands and an audience is going to receive well. So for your niche, you can find this through using creator search insights, using your FYP if you're engaging in your niche a lot, and by using TikTok search. 70% of your videos should be on topics that you know can do well on TikTok, and the other 30% is where you play around, add some specificity if you want to, add your own spin on things, and that's how you discover new topics that can do well on here. So once you've got your topic sorted, the next thing you need to optimize if you're at low views are your hooks. If you're not getting people to stop scrolling on their FYP and actually watch your video, you're not going to go anywhere. You'll always be stuck at low views. So to avoid this, you've got to use your visual hook and your text hook to buy you about 3 seconds of time of people's attention. And then you use your audio hook to use those 3 seconds to get people to stick around to the end. So you've got the right topic, you've got the right hooks. Next bit on the blueprint, where a lot of people struggle, is the constant stimulus. TikTok changed their algorithm so that they're only rewarding content that gets people to watch for a long period of time, relative to the length of the video. To do this, you've got to make sure that your video has a good storytelling structure. This can be a pretty complex topic, but essentially, do you have a distinctive beginning, middle, and end? And are you smoothly going from one to the next to the next? Within constant stimulus, you've also got to make sure that your video has a nice flow and there are no mistakes and pauses. And bonus points here if you can change up the video so people have something new to look at and you've got captions. So you've got the right topic, you've got the right hooks, your video's got a nice flow. Now the cherry on top is your TikTok SEO, which is where you get TikTok to categorize your video so that they can put your video in front of people who have actually expressed an interest in that category on the app before, rather than random people. Because in an app of countless millions of people, what's the likelihood of a random group of 300 people liking the topic of your video? Not very high. So let's get your content put in front of the right people. To do this, you've just got to think about keywords. What are some words or phrases you can use to correctly describe your content? And if you use these throughout the video, you use them in your description, and you use them in your hashtags, then you'll do just fine. Now, if you want to be part of the community, where we're helping people get over 100,000 followers within a few months by teaching them this blueprint of getting views in so much more detail, by teaching them how to get followers from views and teaching them how to monetize their followers and views, all through tailored content and direct support from TikTok coaches, then click the link in our bio. Tier 1 is the option for free, where you get an intro to all of the topics you need to start understanding. Tier 2 is the option where we see these crazy results, where you get all content, you get a full account breakdown when you join. There are limited options for one-on-one coaching calls and so much more. You can cancel these at any time, and we've got a 6-week money-back guarantee. So if that's what you want, click the link in our bio, click tier 2, and I'll see you over there. TikTok has changed over the last 48 hours, and this is what you need to know if you're trying to get views and you're trying to grow on here. Because as always with TikTok updates, They've introduced things that are going to change the kind of views people are getting, and across the board, even if you're not impacted by the specific changes, views tend to drop a bit for everybody whilst the algorithm settles down. So save this so you don't lose it, and follow for daily TikTok growth content. Now the changes to the algorithm are essentially down to adding additional checks to content before deciding if they're actually going to push it out at all. Not just how many views it will get, but whether the video is going to get views at all. So luckily, when it comes to how many views you're going to get, it's the same as the algorithm update released, 6-8 months ago now, something like that, where watch time is king over everything. So if your videos have a high completion rate and a high average watch time in relation to how long the video is, then that video is still going to do well. However, the checks before pushing them out further are these. First, it's AI content. If you've used AI pretty much at all within the content and you haven't tagged it as AI content, then that video is not going to get views. And the way they've worded it sounds like it's actually going to hinder your account as well. They were also doing extra explicitness checks, is probably the best way you can put it, where if you're wearing anything overly revealing within the first couple of seconds of the video, or if you use any explicit or overly negative language within the first couple of seconds of the video, then they're not going to get views at all. From the way that they've said it in terms of like at the start of the video, it feels like you can introduce that later on in the videos, but to be on the safe side, I'd just avoid it completely. And next, and the thing I'm most curious about seeing how it's actually going to impact people, is how they're treating overly salesy content. Again, a video is not going to get views at all if TikTok deems it overly salesy or overly pushy. So you've got to think about people trying to land brand partnerships, promoting products, using TikTok Shop, promoting their own business, so on and so forth. This might change the way people are going to have to style their content. And I've got a few ideas about that. So if you're trying to monetize, just let me know in the comments and I can get a video out explaining what I do there. Now, if you want to be part of the fastest growing TikTok growth community, where we see multiple creators get over 100,000 followers, some over 80,000, some over 60,000 within a couple of months, then just click the link in our bio. We've got a completely free version available and options for account breakdowns and one-on-one coaching calls and a full TikTok growth operating system. So click the link in our bio to check that out, and I'll see you over there.
If you have a big interview coming up and you want to nail it, here are 8 tips that I use that I recommend everyone use to stand out in the interview process. In the last 3 years of my corporate career, I've interviewed for well over 15 jobs and gotten offers from all of them using these tips. Interviewing itself is a skill. These tips aren't made up by me, they're not original, they are simply from mentors a whole lot smarter and more successful than I am. Quick background, before I started doing this full time, I was in corporate America in a private equity consulting job making well over $100,000 a year for a job on paper I was not qualified for, but in the interview process I was able to set myself apart and obtain the role. Number 1, dress the part. Even if it's remote, you'd be amazed how many people fold and show up underdressed to an interview. This is one of the easiest ways to set yourself apart in a process. I never showed up in anything less than a button-down and blazer. Even if I knew the interviewing managers were going to be dressed significantly under that, it is always better to be over than underdressed. Number 2, don't be desperate. Carry yourself with the energy that you are competent and qualified for the role, but you don't need the job.